Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder of our nation, envisioned an industrialized, self-reliant Ghana, whose citizens have the highest standard of economic life and the greatest sense of self-esteem rooted in patriotism and Pan-African unity.
The cost of celebrating Ghana's independence has been cut from the very apex to the very low. Because now this president did not want to waste Ghana's money for nothing. He says that Ghana has, gotten independence. We've been celebrating it. It's okay, but we need money for development. We need money for development. And for that reason, he's going to ensure that they do something very small at the seat of government, where the president's office is. We call it the Jubilee House. And that is where he's going to celebrate Ghana's Independence Day. That's it. Nowhere again. He's not going to do any big, huge celebration to just waste the taxpayers' money. He says Ghana needs money, and we applaud him for that. We, the youth, applaud him seriously for this, for thinking about the youth and thinking about the development of the country. Now, let me tell you a brief about Ghana's independence. Ghana got independence in the year 1957, 6th of March. But what happened? There were a lot of things that happened. Kwame Nkrumah, who was invited by the first political party in Ghana to become their general secretary, at a point in time in 1948, had to move away from them because of ideological differences. Because the political party that invited them is independent in the shortest possible time. That was the ideology. Kwame Nkrumah said independence now. In the shortest possible time, it's like, telling somebody go and come tomorrow. He comes here, go and come tomorrow. It is non-existent. It's never going to happen. It's not going to come. So, independence now. So these two ideologies were not matching. And for that reason, Kwame Nkrumah had to veer off and form his own political party, CPP 1949, and started moving the agenda for Ghana's independence. Strangely, in 1951, Nkrumah was in prison when election for Legislative Assembly was going on. The British colonial rule in Ghana at the time just had to include Kwame Nkrumah's name as a member for Accra Central. They put his name and he won massively. They just wanted to appease the thieving youth that were not happy with the British colonial rule, because Nkrumah was awakening them. They've gotten enlightened, they've gotten awakened by his education, by his thoughts and everything, by his Pan-Africanist ideas. And so they knew that they had to get independence. So these youth were for Nkrumah. And the whole of this country, Ghana, was behind Nkrumah. Nkrumah's name was just added just to appease them. Then he won. Went to the parliament in 1952. He was made head of government business. Kwame Nkrumah then rose, started his negotiations. 1957. They had to give us our independence. Fast forward to that, Kwame Nkrumah has independence now. Now let's look at something. Where Kwame Nkrumah stood and declared Ghana as independent is the one that I am so much particular about. The former polo grounds. You know why? That was a preserve. It was only the Europeans, the British, the whites who could go there and play the polo. If you're a black man, an African, an indigenous, a Ghanaian with this skin, African skin, this original skin, this skin, you are not allowed. You can't make entry. You can't just, even if you want to watch, you have money, you want to enter, no way. But Nkrumah, being very smart, said or thought that if indeed my people will know that Ghana is independent, then I have to do this very thing. I have to undo what the white man has done. And so Kwame Nkrumah broke that gin that very day, 6th of March 1957. The very grounds that blacks were not allowed was where Kwame Nkrumah stood and declared Ghana as independent. Yes, this is the only way Ghanaians and Africans will believe and know that indeed Ghana is independent. And that was the first time they were able to go there. How possible that a ground within a country is a no-go area for the indigens? So Kwame Nkrumah broke that day, and that is the exact spot Kwame Nkrumah stood and declared Ghana as independent. And in his speech, he said Ghana will not go back to sleep, and that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. He said, we shall no more go back to sleep. We have to prove to the world that we have to create our own personality and identity as Africans, and prove to the world that when the African man is, or the black man is given an opportunity, he can prove to the whole world that he's somebody. That is the Ghana we are talking about. That is the man who fought for Ghana's independence. Today, I'm showing you voices. Listen to the voices of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. All that he meant, and let's see what we need to do as Africans, whether we are doing it or we are not doing it. Is the current president of Ghana and Ibrahim Traore, captain, the president of Burkina Faso, are they really fighting for Kwame Nkrumah's idea to develop their countries and make sure that Africa unites and push for the agenda of African unity? Because Nkrumah made it clear that we can only develop when we have unity or unified front. Because united we stand, divided we fall. Let's watch the videos. Thank you. Kindly subscribe to the channel. This is Authentic Plus TV. The name remains Ibrahim.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. And my last warning to you is that you ought to stand firm behind us so that we can prove to the world that when the African is given a chance, he can show to the world that he's somebody. We are awakening. We shall no more go back to sleep anymore. We are going to demonstrate to the world, to the other nations, young as we are, that we are prepared to lay our own foundation. As I said in the assembly just minutes ago, I made it point that we are going to see that we create our own African personality and identity. It's the only way in which we can show the world that we are ready for our own battle. But today, may I call upon you all that at this great day, let us all remember that nothing in the world can be done unless it has the purported support of God. We have done the battle, and we again rededicate ourselves not only in the struggle to emancipate other territories in Africa Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. And here, I will ask the band to play the Ghana national anthem. Freedom! Freedom!
I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. Action without thought is empty. Thought without action is blind. It is clear that we must find an African solution to our problems, and that this can only be found in African unity. Divided, we are weak. United, Africa will become one of the greatest forces for good in the world. Those who would judge us merely by the heights we have achieved would do well to remember the depths from which we started. Africa is a paradox which illustrates and highlights neo-colonialism. Her earth is rich, yet the products that come from above and below the soil continue to enrich not Africans predominantly, but groups and individuals who operate to Africa's impoverishment. The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. We have awakened. We will not sleep anymore.